Hello everybody. Today in Firefall, I'm going to talk about what we learned from the first ESL tournament for Firefall. The key word for this tournament was momentum. I mean, if you watched my casting, you heard me use that word over and over again, just because it was so crucial in those really competitive fights. I mean, let's just go into specifics. Right off the bat, HKM's farming were so important. We saw teams going 5-man first, try to get that initial TDM down, and just push as fast as possible before the other team's fifth was able to come in with the HKM. But if they weren't able to do it, we saw Shockwave. God, Shockwave just sweep everything that they pushed for right from under their feet, and the team was just able to push right after that into the other team's lobby. And by lobby, I mean the room right before the enemy's base. It's just what we call the room that's not mid, but still center lane. So we have the team at decent amount of health because Shockwave just finishes a fight instantly, because it does like what, 1250 damage if you activate overcharge. That's a lot of damage to take instantly, and with the size of Shockwave, you're able to clip at least 3 or 4 people on the other team, especially in the competitive play, where you saw teams very bunched together from Bulwark, barely coming out and focusing on those choke points in mid. Kind of goes against them when Shockwave comes at them, as it just rips through the entire team, and barely any focus fire is required to just clean up. I think that's one of the strongest things we found, is that a lot of teams like to fight in choke points, so the answer was Shockwave. In the opening cup for ESL, we saw that the Biotech's HKM was probably the most used, as we only saw maybe 1 or 2 teams farming Shockwave, but everyone else was farming Biotech's HKM. Why is that? Well, in the initial opening cup, we saw a lot of fights inside of mid going in that arena-style TDM mode. So everyone was much more split up, trying to focus down each other one at a time. We didn't see a lot of bulwark preparation like we did in this tournament, so the spray gun was the best choice, because it's an instant kill, one at a time, and it takes a lot of focus fire to take that Biotech down, because the damage mitigation, poison trail, and he's just right on you every time. He could sneak right up on you, instantly take down one, instantly take down another, and so by the time you get to focus him, you're already like, you only have maybe 2 or 3 people trying to shoot at him. So in those open area modes, it worked really well. But in this case, we saw bulwark preparation. Pushing into their lobby was key. So they tried to go through center as much as possible, because that was their goal. Get to that room. So everyone learned to do poke damage for that choke point from middle to the lobby. And then Shockwave came in and just ruins everything. So as a defensive position and an offensive position, Shockwave just works, especially for defending your base. I mean, you can wipe out everything going in the choke point going into your lobby, or everything going into your base from that center choke point. It's not fair. It really isn't. But I really don't consider it overpowered, because it's a one-time use. It's an HKM. It's an HKM. You really shouldn't have it that often. It should be a once a round, maybe twice a round if you're really getting some good damage on and not getting killed. But other than that, you shouldn't see it that often. The problem is momentum and resource management in Jetball right now. So right now, the timers for the HKM buffs are, I think, 2.5 minutes. Not quite sure. I need to look at that myself before I post any guides that I'm planning on doing soon. 2.5 minutes. Okay, so we initially get the buffs at about 10, 15 seconds into the match. So when we finish the first team fight, usually a minute has gone by, and you wait in their lobby and get ready for the next push. That next push towards their goal takes about another minute, maybe a minute and a half to get everything cleaned up. Because you have to regroup, bulwark up, get your speed buffs ready, and have your entire team push in front of the ball carrier and distract the enemy team in their base so that the ball carrier can run up the ramp, glide to either side, and get that nice angle into the goal. Because if he's on the ramp just walking, he's very hard to hit when your team is pushed out in front of him. So all he has to do is take that 1 second glide up into the side, and then afterburner instantly. You just can't stop that afterburner. It's too impossible to hit for that amount of damage to take him out. So what happens then? TDM, because most likely they're shooting at the ball carrier, trying to take him out, and if he doesn't get taken out by the time he scores, he's gonna be taken out right after. The focus still lays on the ball carrier because he's so low health, but that entire time, okay, we have the 1 second where he's getting up into the air. That's when people notice him. So that's 1 second. That pushed an afterburner to the other second, and then the 2-3 seconds it takes to finish him off as he's coming back down to the ground. So we have initially 4 or 5 seconds where your team is completely pushing in and trying to do as much damage to the other team as possible. That's a lot of time when you think about it. And so you have that distraction. That's why I call it the distraction push. And if you're bulwarked up, you probably didn't take enough damage from that initial push forward to really worry about anything. So you're still probably round full health, and you just did 4 seconds of damage to the entire enemy team that is grouped up, trying to focus on the ball carrier, and you sweep them. You get everything stomped out. You have 20 seconds for someone to go back and grab the ball, and you can try to do that distraction push again straight from the lobby without having to worry about the enemy team being able to do anything about it. What else can you do in that 20 seconds? Well, their HKM buffs are up on both sides. So you have whoever you want, hint hint, Shockwave. You have him go get the HKM buffs, get his ultimate ready, and see if he wants to push again. That way, if you push and maybe your fight doesn't go in your favor, you still have Shockwave to rely on. So your team pushes forward, their team groups up, trying to chase the ball carrier. He gets through the goal, turns around, Shockwave. Their team's probably going down again. So that's an instant 6 points on the board with the enemy team not able to do anything, really. And so that you have 6 points on the board. You clean up, and you have another chance to get 3 points as their team's completely wiped out from the Shockwave, and your team is ready in their base, still full health if you have a Dragonfly, and you're ready to bulwark, ready to do it all over again. It's just insane how much you can deny power from the other team with that momentum. And we're gonna have to see how Red 5 answers this. This is a big issue. How are you gonna solve resource management in a first-person shooter? How are you gonna solve choke points and just the ability to not take out a target in that 1 second it's necessary? Well, on one hand, I don't really see it that necessary for you to worry about the choke point, because it's a choke point. That's what's supposed to happen there. Teams are going to figure out ways to fight against the choke point or do what a lot of other teams did. Like you saw Hubris in that final match against Epsilon. They know that choke point is deadly, so they just didn't let them go in. They immediately TDM'd in their lobby, so they get that wide open area, not be so clumped together like they would be, and able to do a lot more damage to Epsilon. Maybe not be successful, but definitely have a better chance than they would have if they just gotten pushed against on that ramp. So I think we're gonna have a bit of ingenuity on the player side for that possibility, but HKMs, that's an important issue, and I really hope someone at Red 5 or someone who's able to talk to Red 5 can come up with a compromise to make resource denying or HKM farming not so important. I don't know, a lot to think about, and I hope Red 5 is taking this data seriously so that we can get something fixed for the, I don't know, 3rd or 4th tournament. That's what I'm guessing. But that's really all I have to say about this so far. It's been an interesting 2 tournaments to look at, and I'm already liking how much it's changed in the competitive scene. So, looking forward to the future. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, feel free to click the like, subscribe buttons below for future content on Firefall, and I'll see you next time.